My next guest will be back in action on November the 4th when he headlines Shamrock 350 when he takes on Nick Maupin. And of course, is Josh Augustine back on the show. Josh, how are you?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate
Good.
it, Ryan.
Good. Little camera trouble there, but it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. We got the phone set up on a piece of tape. Let me get this set. All right.
All
Maybe
good.
speak.
Good to have you back, man. And as I was telling you before we started here, you're looking nice and lean. Fight camp is essentially all but over. Only a couple of days left, right? And then you go into the weight cut.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're a week out from making weight and 8 days from the fight. So looking forward to getting in there and just getting it done at this point. Fight camp has been absolutely incredible. Couldn't have asked for a better camp, better partners, better coaching. So much help in so many different directions. A lot different than my last fight. So having the two polar opposites has just been amazing. And I'm just looking forward to going out there and showcasing the past few months of just being out here and sacrificing so much.
And the weight class for this upcoming fight is 55.
Yes, this is 55. My original opponent, we were trying to get 45. I'm going to go back down to featherweight, so we were going to do 45, and then we were talking about doing 50 because it's kind of a big weight cut for the two of us for for a few $1,000s. So yeah, we came to that. Then he fell out, and Maupin was stepping in on 2 weeks' notice, and he's fought at 45 and 50. So him asking for 55 a couple weeks out, I felt like was more than fair. I feel like he could make 45 if he needed to. I think I'm actually going to have the size advantage on him whenever we step in there still. And yeah. So I'm totally comfortable with that.
And do you feel like moving forward, featherweight, you're just going to have more success there? You're just going to be bigger than a lot of the guys maybe you'll face?
I'm going to have a larger reach advantage than 99% of the guys. And I'm going to be faster and stronger than pretty much everybody in the weight class.
What's your weight at today?
I just got off the scale at 170 pounds.
170. Okay, so you still got some cut to go. Are you a sauna guy? Are you going to be in the sauna a lot to get most of that weight off?
Yeah, the last couple of days will be a lot of sauna, especially that last day will mostly be sauna. But I've been through it so many times. It's about time to start cutting carbs, bringing the carbs down, and then I'll lose another 5-6 pounds over the next week, and then it'll be time to just shut off all water weight and get down. I was aiming for 45. I was in practices at 165, 164 pounds, and then whenever I got word of this, it was just picked my carbs back up, picked my energy levels back up, and just added a few pounds, and just enjoying this a little bit more.
For sure. Well, you're looking good. You're looking good, my man. And obviously, you're at one of the best gyms on planet Earth, Xtreme Couture. Who have been the main partners that you've been going with for this camp to get you ready for Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. My main guy, Shorty Torres, has been staying with me for his last fight camp. Whenever he fought Nicholas Nikosi in Debele, and then he's here with me again for his next fight camp, and he's here with me for my fight camp. So he's been an amazing, huge help for me. My head coach, Dennis Davis, and then my main partners have been Nicholas Mota, Jordan Levitt, Julian Rosa, Kanan Kawhi. Man, we have so many endless guys here. Mateus Camilo. I even got my boy Gabe Stein from back home out here. I got, man, there's just endless. Chad Decker, Arthur DeFlo. We have literally just endless guys here at Xtreme. And I didn't want to mention a lot of the big name guys that I work with occasionally, just because I feel like that's kind of like, I don't know, just like people do that for clout or whatever. But occasionally I will train with like Patchy and Danny Gay and stuff like that. So even just getting random looks like that and, good sites, obviously train with high level guys like Jordan and Nicholas Mota and Julian Rosa and all those guys have just been a huge benefit for me. And I get to see them every single day and seeing those high level looks every day. And that's why I'm looking forward to coming out and showcasing. I've always had the athletic ability, but to be able to work with guys at this level and have the coaching staff around me to help support me and guide me into the new chapter of my career into being the most successful I feel I could be is what's most exciting about these next few fights.
Well, you're 6-3 now as a pro. You know, we know what happened in your last fight. That was a loss, and I know you had some things going on outside of just your MMA training that maybe like distracted you a little bit. But going with all these high level fighters, in camp day to day, you must have a pretty good idea as to where you stand with these, UFC Bellator guys. Like, do you feel right now with the progress that you're making as a fighter training at Xtreme Couture that you're close to being there? You get a few wins and maybe we can see you on a contender series.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've known where I've been at. Even whenever I first got out here, I knew I was really high level and I could have had a lot of success. I think the last fight was a huge learning experience for me as far as uh, pacing myself, not just trying to blow through a guy who's like a veteran in the sport, and taking personal things a lot more serious, and not just saying, "Oh, it's fine. I'm going to go out there and just dominate." No, like you really got to take everything serious. And this wasn't a good time for me to take a fight, and I paid the price for it. But being out here with these guys, like you said, it really does show me where I am. And not I'm not waiting for contender series next year. I'm going to get a win next Saturday. I'm going to get a win again in December or January. And after that, it's time for the call 8-3. If I have to get one more 9-3, I'm gonna come in on short notice for UFC after that. I'm not gonna hold out. I'm not gonna stay patient. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna stay active until they call me. And I'm not looking to go that route. I know right where I stand, and after I get signed, it's a matter of time before I blow up. I know that I can compete with all the top 10, top 15 guys, and with the coaching staff around me, really the sky's the limit. I don't see I don't see where my ceiling is, to be honest with you. I think it's really endless, and I think I have a lot of time to reach that. And I'm fine with being patient for a little bit, and I'm fine with going through the rankings and building my way up to becoming one of the best of all time.
Was it difficult for you after that last loss to just kind of stay positive mentally and keep pushing forward? Because 6-3, I know as you just said, the expectations that you have for yourself, that must have been, I would imagine, somewhat difficult to just kind of push through a little bit, right?
Well, more than anything, it's just the expectation, the pressure, and standard that I put on myself. Like you said, not so much about what anyone else said or what anyone else thought or anything that happened after the fight. It was really just how I felt about my own performance and how I handled it. But at the end of the day, this is a razor thin sport, and you're gonna go out there and you're gonna fucking put your nuts on the cutting board. And sometimes they're fucking gonna get chopped off. Sometimes you're gonna chop the other guys off. But I went out there and I had a fucking banger fight with a guy who's had seven. It was his 17th pro fight, and it was my ninth. And I went out there to take his head off, and it is what it is. He was ready. He was ready to fight. I was ready to win that night, and that's okay. That's not the end of my story. I would love to run it back with him. I was even looking into trying to get the rematch for this upcoming fight this Saturday. I'm sorry, this next Saturday, and you know, that just was, unfortunately, it wasn't an option. But I'm not against that in the future as well. I want to redeem that loss and any other loss that I have. Once I get to the UFC, I'm immediately calling out Muhammad Naimov. I want that fight back. Any of my losses, I feel like I want those back, because each one of those, I had circumstances happening outside the cage that I felt affected me inside the cage. I've never had a fight where I've gone in there clear-headed, good camp, and gotten beat. And going in there with the level of guy that I'm going against next Saturday, the expectations are high for myself once again. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself as far as I need to do this or need to do that, and force a game plan so much that, or force a result rather, that will then affect the end result in a negative way. I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to showcase my skill set and treat him like he's one of the best fighters in the world, and just expose each weakness that he has until he goes away. But fortunately for me, I feel like this matchup, he's going to be exposed pretty early, and I think that I'm going to be able to showcase some really high level striking.
I love it. I'm sure the fans will love that as well. Let me ask you this too, Josh. Just hypothetically speaking, when you look forward to the future, let's say you run into another situation where you're having some troubles outside of the cage and it's distracting, right? It doesn't keep you in the right headspace. What are you going to do? Like, what have you learned from the things that have happened in the past to kind of dial things in and just be 100%, focused for an upcoming fight?
Sure. Well, my whole life has really changed the past few months, and I don't have people in my inner circle. I have like my son and I, and then my team is like it's like my workplace. It's not like my family or my brothers, or you know what I mean? Like we're all really, really tight, and there is a brotherhood here, and there's definitely certainly a bond that all of us share, but we're teammates, and we're all here for business, and so am I. And that's what I'm here for. Not um I'm not having anything mixed. I'm not having anything run together. Everything's very black and white for me now. If anything were to really outweigh, the business side of things, then I would have to pull back, and I would take whatever time or whatever I needed necessary, if that weighed out the risk. If the risk outweighs that, or if the reward outweighs that risk, then um, there's always a way through things. I mean, if the UFC calls and I got a bunch of shit going on, you know, sometimes you got to go out there and you got to wing it. But yeah, the thing is for the Shamrock show, I know the promoters. They work with me really well. If I wanted to have it pushed to the next show and take another 6 weeks, I absolutely could have,
Mhm.
but I just didn't do that. I just had too much arrogance, not confidence, and there's a fine line of that. And I was definitely playing with fire at that time. But the loss was good for me, because I feel like at that time in my personal life, I was starting to get a little bit outside of myself, and starting to buy into the hype a little bit, if you will. And I feel more like myself now than ever. And I don't think that any win streak, and taking this time being here at Xtreme and being where I am on the totem pole and seeing how different guys deal with that
Mm.
rise and fame, and rise in the ladder, and how different guys deal with it, and what I like about certain things, what I don't like about certain things, shows me who I want to be for that. Where I think I could have been very, very, very sucked up into all of that and really thought this is all everything, and it's really not. This is really, really, really small piece of us and our lives and our happiness and our relationships, and our family and our friendships. It's really this is a really small thing. It's awesome. I love the opportunity. I love what I do. I love the sport. I love everything about it. I love the challenge. I love, you know, all the attention, everything that, the pros and the cons that come with it that I'm talking about. But I don't buy into it. I don't buy into it anymore. No more hoopla.
I hear you, man. I totally can relate to you too, because personally, for me, just to give you like an example of why I relate, I moved out west to California 10 years ago now. I've always been a huge movie fan. There goes the camera again. And
Yeah, sorry
and
about that.
yeah, no worries. I wanted to get into the movie business, right? But I can look back at it now. If I would have had any type of success, or the success that I wanted to have then, I don't think I would have been able to handle it. I wasn't ready. So sometimes things happen
Right.
and you go on a path to get you to where you need to be, so you're prepared for your goals and what it is that you want to accomplish.
Exactly. You have to become the person that you need to be for that. And I feel like I've found a really, really, really cool lane here, and I found a really awesome group of people. Me and Shorty Torres, we're enjoying this right now. We're enjoying it as much as we possibly can, but we're trying to work harder than every single fucking person in the room every single day. But then whenever we get out of here, we're going to enjoy Vegas
Mm.
and our lives as much as possible as we have in between our sleep patterns and to getting into practice the next day. And I think having this balance of what we're doing, it's really like, what's the point of doing it if we're
Mm.
not going to enjoy it? What's the
Right.
point? I might as well just go get a 9 to 5 and fucking become a lawyer and make a bunch of money if that's all I want to do. So having the people I have around me, and being prepared for this next chapter, and I think that's huge. I think if I would have been with my old gym, and I would have won that last fight, and none of this stuff that happened to me or happened for me, however you want to word it. Uh, then I wouldn't have been prepared for the next level. And I thought that I was, but you only know what you know.
Mm.
And now that I'm out here and I'm able to see what a top 5 guy, what a top 10 guy looks like, and what I need to do to close the gap, and what I need to do to be the best motherfucker on the planet, like a guy like Sean Strickland, well, I see that there's a clear route to it. And obviously I got some work to do. I got some concrete to lay, but I've never had any problem doing that. And that's what I'm planning on doing.
You mentioned Sean Strickland, so let me ask. Obviously, he's fighting at a bigger weight class. He's now the middleweight champion of the UFC. Have you ever sparred with him? And if so, what is that? What is that like?
No, hell no. I got no. Everyone asked me this if you spar with Sean. No, he asked me to whenever I first got out here. I was supposed to be fighting at 55. I was carrying like 10 more pounds of muscle on me. And so he was like, hey, man, you're 170. You want to spar? I'm like, no, dude, I'm a 55. I don't want to fucking spar you. And now I'm a 45 and I definitely ain't sparring his ass.
Right.
Yeah, he's definitely who he is on camera. So it's very relieving to see that. But he's it's such an inspiration to have a guy like that around the gym, a guy who's on top of the world, but he's very humble, down to earth, just doing his thing. And to see my coaches and even my manager in the cage with him, while he, wins the strap and no one thought he could do it.
Yeah.
It was a really incredible thing to see, and it's very inspirational, and you definitely feel that energy in the room. Everyone knows it's right there for the taking. We all just got to put that work in and go get it, and you see the success all over the room.
Of course, I can only imagine what it's like. One of these days, I'm going to get there for a UFC fight week, and I'll be covering it in person. There's no doubt about that. Let me ask you
Absolutely.
about another underdog, my man, Francis Ngannou. He's going in to fight Tyson Fury this weekend. Now, I got to be honest, right? Like, I'm an MMA guy first. I want Francis to win. I just don't think he's going to. Like, it's boxing. This is Tyson Fury's world. What do you think? What do you think we're going to see? Do you think there's a chance that Ngannou can spring the big upset here?
So I think there's always the puncher's chance, but I mean, Deontay Wilder proved that with Tyson. He dropped him a few times in their fight. And we see Tyson taking the fight with Usyk in December, so he's definitely overlooking Francis. That's not to say that he won't dominate. I would love to see Francis win. Do you know what the size of the gloves are for this fight?
Oh God,
Because I think
no.
that's a huge factor.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know what it is. It's probably tens if Tyson's pretty smart. He probably did tens. But if it was like eights or sixes, then we got a way greater chance for Francis.
sure.
But yeah, it's a tough go, man. I hope Francis wins. I want to see him fucking bank $1 billion, get the rematch, and fucking fight all those guys in
Right.
boxing. But it's a different sport, and those guys are really good. Coming back from St. Louis, I've sparred with some really high level guys, and they're like, up and coming pro boxers, and like Vaughn Alexander and fucking like his brother Devon Alexander, and they're world champions, and they're on another planet. Like their striking is just, they're boxing,
Sure.
pure boxing, just on another planet. Same thing with like world champion Muay Thai guys. Um, so it's tough. I mean, it's tough to make the adjustment, especially because they'll have a lot of little tricks and variations that are gonna, be shocking probably in that moment. That are just gonna like steal ring position and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a tough go. Puncher's
Yeah.
chance though.
Okay.
That's my
Fair
boy.
enough.
Get
Understood.
it.
I'm rooting for Francis for whatever
Me
it's
too.
worth. Let's talk about your upcoming fight. You're the main event here for Shamrock FC 350. It's a big deal, man. I mean, this is one of the best regional promotions in the country. You're headlining the event. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, it's huge to be main event and be getting the exposure that I'm getting, and be getting back in the win column and doing my thing. I'm looking forward to being the main event of their 350th show. I've come up watching their show and seen it evolve over the years. It's always been one of the biggest shows in the Midwest, right there in my hometown. I've grown up seeing guys. Whenever I was just a kid and an amateur, watching guys come from Shamrock get to the regional circuit and sign to the UFC. So it's an honor to be in this position and continue to pave the path for the next generation.
Tell me about your opponent. What do you see in him, Nick Maupin? He's 3-4. I feel like you'd have to be a heavy favorite. How do you get this win here?
I have a really large speed advantage, and I think I have a really huge technical striking advantage. He looks like he's going to be kind of strong. He's going to be trying to grapple me and go out there and give me the old Kentucky headlock beatdown. But I think I'm going to be far too technical for him. I think I'm going to be far too fast for him. I think he's going to be shocked with my power whenever I touch him. I've put guys away at 175 pounds, 165 pounds, and very short time. I've put people down and hurt them bad, and ended people's careers with punches and elbows. So, um, I wish him nothing but the best, and I'll be praying for him for sure. But I don't see him making it out of the first round. I think if he's smart and he sees those the first couple exchanges, I see him trying to find a way out. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to hurt him bad later in the fight.
Are you going to be disappointed if you don't get a finish and finish him early?
Not at all. A win's a win. Not at all. The old me would have been very upset if I didn't get him out in the first round, but I'm not even looking for that. Like I said, if he finds his way out, if he sees what's going on really and finds his way out, great. I'll take an early finish, and if I catch him and he gets knocked out, great. But if not, I'm going to drag it out and I'm going to hurt him.
All right, man. Can't wait to watch it. As far as, people that maybe want to watch this fight and aren't familiar with Shamrock FC, where is it streamed? Where can they watch it?
Sure, yeah. If you're not in the St. Louis area and you're going to watch it online or on pay-per-view, it's going to be on the FITE TV app. So you're gonna want to stream that. I think it's going to be like $15.99. If you're in the St. Louis area, though, hit my DMs on Instagram at AuggieMMA and hit me up for some tickets. We got some extra tickets for sale. So yeah, just let me know. You're not going to want to miss this. It's going to be a really awesome show. It's their 350th show. I know Shamrock's looking to put together a really awesome amateur side of the card. A lot of good up and comers, and then obviously I'm going to try to cap it off with some fireworks.
And, Josh, you've already told me what it is that you want to do next, what your plans and goals are. My last question for you is, what are you going to do when you get to the UFC and people mistake you for Justin Gaethje? Are you just going to take pictures or are you going to correct them?
I've already had people mistake. I had this one dude at the Raiders game come up to me and he was just talking to me. I had brown hair and he's come up and just talking to me. And he's like, we're just having casual conversation. He's like, where do you train? I'm like, oh, I train over at Xtreme, blah, blah, blah. I thought he was just being cool. And he's like, oh, my kids, they train over at Syndicate, da, da, da. And I was like, nice, man, nice. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to go over here with my friends. And he's like, can I get a picture? I was like, sure. And he's like, you're Justin Gaethje, right? And I was like, no, dude, I'm not Justin Gaethje. I'm Josh Augustine. I'll give you my Instagram. Like, we can get a picture if you want. He's like, I'm good. I'm like, all right, well, here's my Instagram.
That's too funny. Well, hey, you just got to roll with it. There is a resemblance now that the hair is a different color. That changes things. But I seen a previous interview that you did, and it just reminded me.
I'm like a better looking Justin Gaethje, and I'll keep switching the hair up so that way when I get signed, we don't have the confusion.
There you go. There you go. I love it, man. Josh, always great to talk to you. Again, can't wait to see you back in there November 4th, Shamrock 350 headliner against Nick Maupin. As always, man, appreciate your time. Let me give you the floor before we sign off here today. Anyone you want to thank, anything you want to plug, the floor is yours.
All right. I got to thank all my guys back in St. Louis. I got to thank Reset STL. I got to thank Total Roofing St. Louis. I got to thank two car guys St. Louis, Sports Analytics, St. Louis Golden Toad Tattoo. If you're out here in Las Vegas and you need to get trimmed up, you need to get cleaned up, go see my guy Elliot over at the Garrison LV. He's one of the best in the game, cuts all the superstars. And we're going to be doing the after party for my fight at the Honky Tonk in St. Charles. And whenever I get back to Vegas, we're going to be having an after party at Paradise Pub at my friend Katie's bar. So go check all those guys out if you have any interest in winning some money via bets, or you need a roof or a car or a tattoo, any of that stuff in St. Louis, hit my guys up. All the links are in the bio.